All right, let's just jump right in. Have you ever had that feeling, you know the one, deep down, where it just feels like you're operating on a completely different wavelength than everybody else? Like there's a part of you that has always felt different, but you could never really put your finger on why. Well, today we're going to look at the blueprint for that exact feeling.
Just think about that for a second. It's not that the potential isn't there. The thing is, most of us are never given a map to understand what's really happening on the inside. So all that potential, it just stays hidden, totally misunderstood.
And this is the question we're really digging into. Because what if the very things you've been told are your biggest problems, the things you've been trying so hard to fix, are actually the source of your greatest power?
Okay, so let's start reframing. We're going to take a look at all those common labels that get thrown around and translate them into what's actually going on under the hood.
Let's flip the script on two of the most common ones. You've heard, you think too much, right? Or you're just too sensitive. But what if that's not a bug? What if overthinking is really just depth of thinking? And being too sensitive, that's a sign of high emotional intelligence, the ability to process the world on a level that most people just can't.
See, this is the core idea. The problem was never that you thought too much. It's that maybe you were surrounded by people who thought too little. It's not a flaw you need to fix. It's a high-performance engine. And the goal isn't to shut it down. The goal is to aim it at something worthy of its power.
And what about being called lazy or undisciplined? You know, this usually happens because you get bored easily or you just kind of fade out on projects. But the reframe here is so important. This is not a moral failing. It's a high-stimulation mind. It's a mind that's wired for novelty, not for endless mind-numbing repetition.
Does any of this hit home? That feeling of being totally drained by small talk? Of routines feeling like, well, like you're slowly suffocating? Your brain is literally designed to solve complex problems and explore new ideas. So when it's stuck doing the same old thing, that feeling of boredom isn't laziness. It's a warning light. It's a signal telling you that you are capable of so much more. And then there's this quiet, constant whisper just underneath everything. You get the job, you're in the relationship, you build a life that looks great on paper, but that feeling is always there, just telling you, this isn't it. Not yet.
You might have tried to write that feeling off as being arrogant, or maybe even delusional. But listen, according to this blueprint, it is the most honest thing you have. It's your internal compass, and it's pointing you toward a bigger game. The problem isn't the feeling. The problem has been ignoring it.
So, how do we end up dealing with all this internal pressure? Well, a lot of times, it leads to two really painful patterns: sabotaging ourselves right when we're about to succeed, and this incredibly harsh self-criticism. But these aren't signs of weakness. They're actually misguided attempts at protection and ambition.
Let's really unpack self-sabotage for a second. It's not about being stupid. It's a protection mechanism. It's your own mind trying to shield you from the pain it thinks you'll feel if you fail after giving your all, or even from the pressure of succeeding and having to live up to that. Realizing it's just fear is the first step to taking it apart.
And that harsh inner critic? Yeah, you might call it drive or discipline, but true high performance is never built on self-destruction. It's built on analysis and adjustment. Pushing yourself is one thing. Punishing yourself is something else entirely. And honestly, it just doesn't work.
All right, so we've looked at all these different signs. What does it all add up to? Let's get to the real truth here, the new operating system we've been talking about. Let this one sink in for a minute, seriously. You are not lazy. You are not too much or too sensitive or too intense. You are not broken.
This is the new identity, a high-capacity person. The problem was never your internal operating system. The problem was that you were trying to run it inside a machine, a world, a set of expectations that was never built for its power. You've been trying to squeeze yourself into spaces that were never meant to contain you.
All the energy you've spent trying to shrink yourself down, to apologize for your own intensity, to explain why you think so deeply, that is the real waste. It's not who you are.
So, okay, understanding all this is the first huge step, but a blueprint is pretty useless if you don't actually build something with it, right? It's time to move from insight into action.
And the actions are this direct. Stop making yourself smaller just to make other people comfortable. Stop feeling like you have to justify your own nature. And please, stop waiting for the perfect moment, or for someone's permission, or until you feel ready.
This is it. This is the entire point of the blueprint. Accept this fundamental truth about who you are.
It's time to live from that place, fully and without apology.
So I'll just leave you with this question. Now that you understand the design, now that you finally have the blueprint, what masterpiece are you going to build?